Hello and welcome everyone to a new video that I made for some Tera optimization issues. This is for the people that are returning to the game in 2020 or maybe brand new to the game. I just want to first throw a little disclaimer out there that this is the NA version of the game, which is supported by En masse. GameForge supports the European version of the game. I'm not sure if these things all work the same exactly. I assume the game files are almost the same except for what the game files use to communicate to the servers to connect to them. But I'm not a programmer, so I couldn't tell you for sure. If you're in the European region or you're playing in the European servers from outside, you might want to try this and see how it goes. I can't guarantee anything's going to work for you, but it's likely that it will. Most of the things we're going to do here are based on the game's optimization settings. So the first thing you need to do before you do anything with the game's files is you need to get in game, and you need to open the options menu, which you can do by pressing O as the default, or you can just let me move this over for you, or you can use the mouse, click over here, click options. So what you're going to do first is you're going to scroll all the way down the very first tab to the very bottom, and you're going to see this system setting optimization option. This should be checked if you've freshly installed the game or if you've never touched it before. By default, you need to uncheck this, apply, and OK. If you don't do this, everything that we do is going to get overwritten by the game itself after a few hours of playing in-game, maybe less. So once that's done, you're all set. I wouldn't want to modify anything while the game is actually running, nor would I want to modify anything while the launcher is running either. So I would say go ahead and log out completely, exit the game. Then I'm going to go ahead and open up the game location. So just open your File Explorer, navigate to where your game location is. If you install through Steam, you're going to see something very similar to up top here. While my launcher is closing in the background, we'll just wait a second. So there we go. We have Steam Apps Common. This is where all the game and files are stored. And then you just find the game that you're looking for, which is Tera. Now, if you've downloaded the client directly, this is going to be wherever you told it to save. You're going to want to navigate to the same location, and you should be able to see a folder that looks very similar to what I'm looking at here. We're interested in the top folder, client, and then just a quick note here, you're going to see this top file, en.meta.json. If you've played the game previously at all, other than just logging in to uncheck that box, you should have one of these. If you don't worry about it. If you do, you're going to want to delete this and do nothing else in this area. The game will make a new one of these for you as you play once you make all the changes that we want to make. So next, we're going to go into S1 game, and then config up at the top there, and we're looking for the S1 engine text file. So I already have it open. I'm just going to go ahead and now show you that. And this is it here. We'll go to the top real quick so you can see what the top will look like. Now my text reading program, my base notepad here, it's got some different settings. I use it to actually show on stream, to show notes to people while I'm playing some other games, so that's why it's bold and the font's larger, but it doesn't really matter for the purpose of this. Go ahead and open up your find box here and type in this, allow D3, and then click find next. You'll either find this, which is allow D3 D11, or you'll find allow D3 D10, and you're going to have a true or false equals code here. Now, I have DirectX 11. Most of you will have some version of DirectX 11. It's required or packaged in with a lot of different games. It's just something that's been used for a long time now. If you have DirectX 11 and you know for a fact that you do, just if this is false, change it to true. And then click find next again, and then this is going to show you the other field, allow D3, D10. Now likely when you install the game base, even on a good machine, even if you've let the machine optimize with that setting checked off, you're going to have D3, D10 equals true. We haven't used DirectX 10 in forever. So what you want to do here is change this to false if it is true. And once these two things are changed, what that's going to do is probably spare you from a lot of the crashes that you'll find. You're still going to crash occasionally just because of the way the game works. It doesn't use enough RAM, and it doesn't use extra processing cores. So if you play for a long time, you're eventually going to crash here and there. But this will eliminate a lot of the frequent crashes, especially in areas where there's more players or there's more things to load. As far as I've noticed, I've only crashed maybe 2 or 3 times since changing this, and it's only been after I've been playing the game for several hours. Alright, so next we're going to type in to the find box frame rate, or you can probably type in smooth as well. Actually, yeah. So here, these are the settings you want to find here. You see these min smooth frame rate and max smooth frame rate. Likely these are going to be somewhere in the 20 and the 80 range when you load this up, especially if you've let that optimization run. You can change this to theoretically any 2 numbers, but base 60 FPS and max 120 FPS seem to work well for most people. If you have any computer with a decent video card in it, even if it's 3 or 4 years old, and any kind of i5 processor or better, you should be fine with this. If you have lower than that, and you can run the game, you might want to lower the max a little bit and maybe lower the minimum to like 45. I don't know. You can play with this and see what works best for you, but what we want to avoid is you want to avoid dipping below like 50, because that's going to get you all kinds of weird FPS problems when you're fighting. Combat in an action combat game with lag is really tough to deal with, and you don't want to be like clipping around and not knowing if your abilities even hit or not. So once you're done with this, make sure you click file and save, and then you should be able to load the game back up, and you'll have a much better time, hopefully, with your FPS issues. And we'll just log back in real quick, and I'll show you what we're looking at in terms of frame rate again. And there's a few other things you can do. I wouldn't recommend messing with them unless you're a programmer. We kind of just really want to wait for the developers to really fix some of the issues that have been problems since the game's launched. I mean, it's an old game. It's going to, have some issues where the developers haven't updated a whole lot. For the performance, it's gone through a lot of interesting stages where some companies, have been involved and others haven't. So, alright, so the game's loaded back up here. I'll go ahead and just log in my main character. Here we go, and show you that the FPS is holding steady at right around anywhere from 40 to 60 when you're loading big stuff. You'll see it dip a bit when it's loading on the splash screen, but as soon as we actually get into the game, you see 40, we go to 60, and then it's just going to climb. And I would show you a major city real quick. As soon as we're done here, you can see this area is pretty empty. That's why it's high. And then we'll log out to characters, and I'll log in one of my alts, and we'll teleport to a major city and let you see the frame rate there. And it's natural for it to dip down to nothing while it's loading here, and then come back up. Yep. I'm not sure if I was in a major city when I logged out last, but we can just teleport to one. So we'll teleport to Velika, which is like the home of all the crashes, and we'll run around in it on a mount, and you can kind of get an idea of like what the FPS is going to look like for you. Now, my PC is capable of way higher than what I have it set to, but I just find that using whatever the most commonly work settings is the best method. You never really know like what's going to go on if you try to push it, and I don't really want to like crash in the middle of like leveling and so on and so forth. So we're dipping down to 30 because we're in a major city, but this is much better than you normally would have. Like when I was running around in this area, especially with all around the traders, I was not even at 30. I was at like 8. I was at like 15. And this is actually better than you're going to see in most unoptimized scenarios. And then, as models load, it might even go higher. But you're gonna see people gray like this, and there's really nothing you can do about that. That's the game. But this will help you out. It'll definitely make combat a lot easier in the open world, and you won't crash as much. So this is made for most of the people in the MMO by Discord. So I'm going to share it there. But if you found this via some other means, thanks for checking it out. Hope to see you in game. We're currently playing on the PvE server for NA, so feel free to join us. I'll have some details in the description below if you want to check out our guild, and if you want to check out the family and their stream, and join all their Discord social medias and all that. And hopefully we'll see you in game.